It is good. It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over and ranking our top 10 power forwards right now in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, before I dive any further into this, watch point guard, shooting guard, small forward tier list, especially the small forward tier list, because let's just throw out a name, a guy like LeBron James. Or even at power forward, he'd probably be number 3 on my list. But obviously, I definitely would recommend playing him at that small forward position instead. Even a guy like Hakeem, right? You could play him at the power forward position, but instead I'm going to put him on that center list. So just keep those kind of things in the back of your guys' minds as I do dive into our top 10 today. Coming in at number 10, Bobby Poris Jr. 10,000 MT for the card. Now, yes, it's going to take a little bit to Evo him, but if you do Evo this card, you get a fantastic card. 87 3-ball, decent standing, driving, dunk, rebounding wise, solid Hall of Fame box out beast, brick wall, post lockdown, as well as Hall of Fame catch and shoot, and a really good release. I never really, look, when Bobby Portis first came out, he was an emerald. Then I'm like, you know what? This is what the card looked like. I was like, you know what? Hey, I guess if he gets defense, he has somewhat of potential. But I'm like, even a guy like Jared Vanderbilt was light years ahead of Bobby Portis Jr. But as they got Evo, Bobby Portis Jr. surpassed Jared Vanderbilt, in my opinion, as far as these tournament battles players. He's going to be the only tournament battles player featured in any of the top 10s outside of maybe Derek White. But Bobby Portis Jr., a card I definitely do like. Can play the center position if you need him as well. 10,000 MT. A really solid option. The problem is you can get this card for 10,000 MT as well, Kenyan Martin, and he is a way easier Evo. Turn on real player percentage, hop into triple threat challenge on semi-pro, knock him down really quickly. 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, 86 3-ball, good standing, driving, dunk, good speed, can handle the ball, really solid defense. There's just no real downsides in this card. Is his release the best? No, but he's got a solid enough release that it doesn't really kill you. I mean, it's really, easy to time, easy to green. Definitely not a release that I'm worried about. Not a release that I'm like, can hold the card back. It's a release I like. I've used and really had some success with it. And the best part about Kenyan Martin is going to be that defense. Hall of Fame rebound chaser, 6'9", decent frame, as well as decent speed and solid enough defense. Just came out as a Ruby, and if you do use him in the right way, can be a really solid start to your squad for 10,000 MT. Coming in at my number 8, we're plugging in Mr. Blake Griffin. Now, Blake on the defensive end, defensive side of the ball is still isn't great, but he becomes a lot better. I mean, he's not as good as, Yannis or Chet or AD, but he becomes so much better defensively when you do Evo the card, and I feel like nobody really talks about it. Blake, after his Evo, post-Evo, you're looking at a card with 60 base badges, defensively gets a ton better, and even, ball handling is fine. What is the problem then with Blake Griffin? Well, it's that Blake Griffin release. I just can't sit up here and say I like that release when I don't. That is the one thing that holds this card back from being, top 5 on this list. And his height, only 6'9", not a great release. Those are the negatives. The positive is wide player model player build. Defense becomes a lot better. There are just a lot of things that Blake Griffin does positive that I think need to be talked about when we're ranking these cards as far as the top 10 power forwards in the entire game. Blake Griffin, off anchor, pogo, post lockdown workhorse. Yes, you might want, quick first step, unpluckable, those types of things on Blake Griffin, but this card, for his value, really, really solid. Coming in at my number 7, we're plugging in Diamond Evan Mobley. Now, this card is really weird, really interesting, but when you look at where he should be ranked, or where you guys might have Evan Mobley, it comes down to this. How much do you value a bad release? Because he's taller than Blake Griffin. Defensively, he's better than Blake Griffin. And offensively, Blake Griffin is obviously way better. But the big thing here is, how do you compare him to Blake Griffin? Do you like Evan Mobley more? Give you a little more defense? Or do you like Blake Griffin more? Give you a little more offense? For me, I lean with Evan Mobley. Taller, longer, does, do a little bit more for you defensively. just know this release is really, really, really bad. And I'm not just saying that, guys. Evan Mobley really does have a pretty bad release in my team. It's been bad in recent years, but this year especially, I feel like it is that extra bit slow. Still has 50 base badges, but I'm just saying, offensively, doesn't give you a whole ton. Defensively, one of the best power forwards in the game. It's really where you do prioritize things. Coming in at my number 6, Diamond Chet Holmgren. Now, there is absolutely no reason I'd run this card at this stage of my team. And if you are running Diamond Chet, I'm just kind of curious as to why, but I still have to include him in the top 10 because he is still absolutely really solid. Still 7'1", 7'6" wingspan, good 3-ball, solid enough defense with Hall of Fame anchor, chase down, post lockdown, big driver. But why would you run this when Pink Diamond Chet, who will be higher on this list, is available for just getting 200 blocks? That's what I would encourage you guys to think about. If you had Chet, he's been really good for the last 2 months. It just comes down to, at this stage, there are just better power forwards, including a better version of himself. Similar to this guy right here, Diamond Yannis coming in at my number 5. A lot of people are going to be wondering, Ty, why is Diamond Yannis so low for you? Well, here's the deal. Anytime I see a card like Diamond Yannis that has a better version of himself in the game, I'm going to be a little biased against him because I've used the better version of him. This Yannis came out on October 27th. He had his time in my team. He absolutely did. There was a time in which Diamond Yannis was the best power forward in the game for what, 2 months? A month and a half? That time is over with though. He still is going to be really solid on the defensive end of the court. 3-ball is still not great. Shooting wise, obviously leaves a lot to be desired. Only a 76 free throw as well. So Giannis is good, just not a top 4 power forward in my team. And a guy that I prefer over him, Diamond Anthony Davis. Why? 6'10", 7'5" wingspan. The big thing here is the 3-ball. Anthony Davis, he has a better release than Giannis. Everybody's going to agree with that. And he's just a more complete player. Now, is Anthony Davis perfect? No. I'm not going to sit here and try to make the case he is because I still think his release is a little bit slow. I personally still think Anthony Davis has a little bit of a baited release. Now, with all of that being said, I still like Anthony Davis. I still think defensively he's one of the best power forwards in the entire game. I feel like his wide player model really does help the card. I just wish his release was that little bit quicker. And maybe I'm complaining about AD too much. Maybe you guys won't, find that many issues with AD because I still think his release is super easy to time and super easy to green. I'm just saying, compared to my top 3, I can't put AD any higher. At my number 3, we've got Pink Diamond Kevin Garnett. Now, there's going to be some people out there that are like, really, Ty? You like KG over Anthony Davis? And I think it's close, but I think when it comes down to it, I do prefer Kevin Garnett. Why? A little bit taller, and he's just a little better on the defensive end of the court. Obviously, release-wise, AD I prefer. Movement-wise, AD I prefer. I just think KG badge-wise, stat-wise, gives you a little bit more outside of shooting. And even with KG, I feel like, this is me, if you give him a 3-ball shoe, everything else is going to fall into place. Sure, the 3-ball, I would like to see a little bit higher, but a 73 3-ball isn't the worst. It could be way, way, way worse than that. Obviously, badge-wise, stat-wise is really solid. I got KG today, finally, after the whole season of him being out in the game, and I've really enjoyed using this card. Do I think he's, worth you guys grinding for? Absolutely not. I can't sit up here and lie to you guys and say he's worth that. But if you have KG, would I run him? Absolutely. At my number 2, power forward in my team right now, Pink Diamond Chet. Now, I would love to put Chet at number 1 because he's free. All you got to do is get 200 blocks. And you guys might be like, Ty, that's not easy to do. Getting 200 blocks is pretty difficult. But all you got to do is get 200 blocks. He's got an 89 3-ball, 87 speed, 87 lateral quickness, decent standing driving dunk, great defensive badges, Hall of Fame range, catch and shoot. There's just not really many flaws with Chet. But the reason I can't put him higher is this. I still feel like he just plays that little bit weak compared to my number 1. My number 1, I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, Pink Diamond Giannis. When you compare Giannis to Chet, I think it's super close. But they're just different cards. Chet, obviously 3-ball, he's got a way better 3-ball than Giannis. There's really no comparison there. But with Giannis, he plays so much stronger. For example, you get a wide open dunk with Chet, he's gonna get blocked way more than Giannis. You guys could be like, well, Giannis has way better finishing badges. I just feel like Giannis's animations around the rim are so much better compared to Chet's. On the flip side of things, Chet, he's 7'1". He is going to shoot the ball a lot better than Giannis. Between the two, it really is preference based. For a lot of you guys, do not lock in Pink Diamond Giannis. Just get this Chet. and you can use him for the foreseeable future. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Chet Holmgren is absolutely elite. And heading into season 4 of my team, if you can find a way to get your 200 blocks, this card is going to be your future. Now for Yannis, let's spend some time talking about him. He's got a 92 free throw. He's got a 96 block. He's got every badge in the game you could possibly want. You badge him up shooting wise, at least with that catch and shoot. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I like Giannis Antetokounmpo as my #1 power forward in the entire game. I just don't think there's a more complete power forward than Yannis. Now, a lot of you guys might disagree with my take on Yannis and might think, Chet's better. You guys might think AD is better. But as I've used Yannis, I've grown an appreciation for his 3-ball. I can green basically every shot I take with Yannis. I do have the gold catching. As long as you have gold catch and shoot on him, you will be just a-okay. But right now, as it stands, Yannis is my top power forward in the entire game. I'm really intrigued to hear who you guys have in your top 10 at that power forward position. Who is I too high on? Who is I too low on? And ultimately, who did I have off the list that you guys would have included? What if you guys have included a guy like Dirk Nowitzki? I personally hate the card, but maybe you guys would have included him on this list. Let me know that down below in the comments, guys. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.